Hey, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video, and this is a paid request for Antonio. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting any type of videos, whether it be a random thought stream commentary, video game playthrough for an hour, or a full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I personally can. So, as soon as I personally can, what the fuck does that mean? As soon as I can. Thanks for, I appreciate the patience and the generosity. Thank you. Even if I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But thank you. So, PayPal, Cash App, best ways to send it down below in the info box. So this is Furious 7 from 2015. So give me... Now, with the Fast and Furious films, the first one I liked. For what it is, I liked it. Second film I saw in the theater, always enjoyed it. Was always one of my favorites of the franchise. Third one I could never get into. I've seen it more than once. I could never get into the film. The fourth one I do not like at all. I know that reinvigorated the franchise. I don't like it at all. I think it's boring. The fifth one I think is the best one. The sixth one I do quite like. This is when the franchise started turning for me. And I don't hate 8 like most people do, but I get it, and I'm not going to defend it. And 9 and 10, I think, are the worst ones. I don't even know which is worse. They're both pretty bad. But this is where the turning point was for me back then. Where I'm like, you don't need any more of these movies. And I think most people could say that at the very least, this should have been the end of it. And not make any more. I don't hate Part 8, but if it was never made, I would not shed a tear. F9, F10, fuck both of them. In this one, I watch it again. I don't know, watch it again if I would say I hate the film. But am I a big fan of this film? No. Are there moments I liked and things I liked? Sure. Which I'll put above 9 and 10 and 4. 3, I don't know, I might put it above 3 because I never liked 3. But this one, you could tell some things had to be switched up because of Paul Walker's death. Now, maybe it wasn't a ton of stuff, I don't know, but I'm sure definitely some things had to be added in there because of that. And then his brothers were brought in to have a few touch-ups here, which you can notice. Granted, not as bad as some movies that have done that, but you can notice if you pay close enough attention. Like, yeah, that doesn't look quite right. So, it's not entirely egregious, but it still takes me at least a little bit out of the movie. Because, of course, to mention, this is the film where, in the middle of the film, of filming, I should say, Paul Walker passed away. Which was a shame, which was a tragedy, because seemed like a nice guy. People had nothing but good things to say about him. And I was really starting to like his stuff. The Fast and Furious, I already mentioned those. But he did Brick Mansions. I liked it for what it was. He did Hours. Hours is a very underrated film. Hours, where he's in a hospital, his baby's on a ventilator, there's a big disaster, everybody's evacuated except him because the ventilator's attached to his battery operated. This thing he has got to crank up every so often, and he's staying there with his baby until help arrives. Very, very good film. Criminally underrated. Even this one he did, Vehicle 19 or whatever, I can't remember. I think that's the title. I didn't mind that film either. It has its flaws. What's interesting is the entire film takes place within one car. And there's all these car chases stuff happens, but the camera never leaves the car. I thought that was a cool gimmick. I liked that gimmick. I thought Paul Walker was getting better as an actor. I did. I thought he was getting better and better as an actor. And it's a damn shame that he passed away way too soon. One thing I will say about this film that made me... I say it's hard for me to say I hate the film, is I thought the ending was rather sweet and respectful. Which is very rare to see. But I mean, there's a lot of ways they could have done it, but I thought they handled it very responsibly. Just how many times have you seen characters that you liked, they get killed off, or an actor passed away, so we kill him off in the next one? Was it even like Carrie Fisher? She passed away, then Princess Leia is dead in the next movie. Well, she wasn't a princess, but Leia dies in the next movie. And I said, well, what could you do? But this, look how they handle it with this. The character gets to live on, while the actor does not, sadly. The character gets to have a life with his baby and his wife and the new baby coming up, and even through 8, 9, 10, he still continues to live on and have a life, and that's really cool. That's really neat. As someone who liked the character, who liked the actor, it's a very touching, heartfelt, respectful ending. And not all characters get that. I mean, the list, just of character-wise, James Bond, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Ellen Ripley, Captain Kirk. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Now, I know again this is a different bit because of, we died in the middle. I like the way it ended. I think that's why most people say you can't get more of a impactful ending than that. So just let it go. But it made a shitload of money, so of course they kept going. And then they're making another one. This is the last one, then there'll be another one. And people are tired of it. People don't want to see this anymore. And while there are aspects I like about it, I like the fight between Statham and The Rock. I liked some of Tyrese's moments, because I liked his character. There's few bits of action here and there that I don't mind. There's some parts of the car chase I don't mind. Some of the more practical parts. And when I say car chase, I mean when they're getting to the bus, the convoy to get the hacker out. There's some moments of action I don't mind, but then there's more that's just very overly CGI. Which became more and more apparent with this franchise, more and more CGI. And what's also weird about this film is that if you think about it, a lot of this kind of ultimately was pointless. It really was. Jason Statham's the big bad guy. He murdered all these people, but then he's fine and dandy. And to be fair, Part 8 started that. So... And then they did Hobbs and Shaw where they're buddy-buddy. I'm like, didn't this guy murder a bunch of cops in this fucking movie? Han is dead, but he's not really fucking dead. He's in what? He was in, I think think he was in 10, and then he's fucking alive. Oh, Gal Gadot is dead in part 6. No, because she's at the very end of the fucking part 10. Because she ain't making Wonder Woman movies anymore, so she needs another job. Yes. It's just one of those things I'm like, what the fuck, dude? That's the thing, you watch, it's funny watching this, knowing what we know now. It's like, most of this shit that is fucking pointless. So and it's directed by James Wan, which is, this is, nothing about this screams James Wan. Granted, he usually does horror. Malignant, Saw. He did Death Sentence, which I have issues with Death Sentence. There's moments I liked in that film, but I don't like its core. I think it's a very hypocritical core it has. It wants to denounce violence and denounce it how revenge is awful, but then it wants to film it in such like a cool, artistic way that it gotta be like watching a John Woo film, but then it tells you violence is bad. You know. Really? You made it look cool? I have a lot of issues with Death Sentence. But yeah, this doesn't feel like James Wan at all. But anyway, to get to the plot of the film, in the last film, our good guys were pardoned. So they're off to live their life. Vin Diesel as Dom is with Letty, Michelle Rodriguez, which she was dead, but then she's not dead, then she had amnesia, and then by the end of this she gets her memory back. So the whole killing, but none of that fucking matter. I mean, granted, I get it. You could say that for other franchises where something happens and then they kind of something's revealed, the kind of retroactively changes that. I get it. A lot of franchises do that kind of thing. I get it. But this one just seems like taking the piss out of it. That's just me. At times. And like Vin Diesel, I don't hate Vin Diesel like some people do. I don't. I like Vin Diesel. He just... He doesn't pick the best projects. I love Pitch Black. Sequels, not so much. Find Me Guilty was good. But then you got Babylon AD. You got Bloodshot. You got The Last Witch Hunter. And then even with franchises like the Reddit sequels and... What was that fun? Triple X's Return of Xander Cage. The third one that tried to be a wannabe Fast and Furious. I like the first Triple X. How about you be like Triple X and not fucking Fast and Furious? And that film didn't do that well. That's why you haven't seen other Triple X movies. If it did as well as they wanted, you would have seen one already. You didn't. Because it didn't make as much as they wanted. Vin Diesel, you need to fire your agent, or... It's really him making decisions. You need to, like, take a step back and... I don't know. Talk to your family. I don't know. It's always about fucking family. Maybe they could give you tips. And Michelle Rodriguez, I liked her as well. You know, seeing films and she was in Back to the Day, I'm like, okay, she seems got a nice attitude to her. I even liked her in like Battle Los Angeles. I liked her in that film. Some of the early Fast and Furious films, I don't mind her in those, but she got kind of put into this box that she really hasn't found a way to get herself out. And you don't really see her do stuff a whole lot other than Fast and Furious. I can't think of the last film she did that wasn't a Fast and Furious film. Maybe that one with Walter Hill where he's the she's like the guy, then been turned to a girl. The awful fucking film. One of Walter Hill's. I think it's Walter Hill. One of his worst movies. But anyway, in the plot, Vin is trying to get Letty her memory back. Paul Walker is with Jordana Brewster, his wife, and they have a kid. And we find out she's pregnant, so they don't have another baby. And Jason Statham wants revenge. We see him at the hospital talking to the bad guy from the last film. You're my brother. I'm going to take care of this. And we see he's annihilated the whole fucking police force at this hospital. That these people are dead. Maybe retroactively they want to say, oh, you knocked him out. No, there's literally, when he's leaving, he puts a grenade and gives it to a guy who falls back, and then he's... He didn't do that because he thought that he was going to play patty cake, and... No, he did that to blow up the fucking guy. He killed those people. Don't give me this, he didn't really kill. Yes, he did. Yes, he fucking did. Now this, it seems like he's a hardcore villain. Then they fucking change it. Said we're killing Han, but no, not really. The actor he's killed Han, which I guess he was the guy who killed Han in the Fast and Furious 3. But Han's not dead. You find out that another movie. Blows up the Toretto house. Then Statham goes in to get some information on Vin Diesel's team. The Rock, Dwayne Johnson finds them. They get into a bit of a fight. I don't mind the fight. I mean, I still think it's cool that Statham and The Rock go back and forth with each other. I actually think that's one of the better parts of Part 8. Although, yes, I get it. Defeats the purpose of this shit. So, one reason why I don't like this film. Yes, granted, I should be more mad at Part 8 for doing that, but... There's not a lot of this film I find that entertaining. Like, there's little moments, like I said, between Statham and The Rock and their fight. The Rock even gets to do his rock bottom on Statham. I like parts of that fight. Statham escapes. The Rock gets injured. Vin Diesel goes in. I know this would piss off my friend Efrey. Because Vin Diesel comes in as Toretto and says, man, you do all this stuff for your country, where they have you, Jello, and a bad 70s TV show. And what's playing? The Incredible Hulk. First off, Vin, you pissed, well, whether the Dom, his character. Well, Dom, you pissed off my friend Efrey, because that's like his favorite show. And from what I've seen, it's not a bad show. So, there's a lot of bad 70s TV shows, not The Incredible Hulk. No, I'd say that's better than your movie. And better than Bloodshot. The Rock tells him some information. Dom goes over to see Lucas Black from the third movie, who gives him some bits and pieces, including this cross that Han had. There's a point where there's a funeral, and this was just really weird, and the editing, not editing, but Tyrese talking about how he doesn't want to go to any more funerals, and Paul Walker goes, just one more. I'm like, yeah, yours, Paul Walker. But then he goes, his, as in Jason Statham, and then Vin Diesel chases Statham. But the way that's set up and the way, like, the pause, right? You have the audience go, yeah, there is one more funeral, and I'm looking right at him. So it just gives an awkwardness to it that I'm sure was not their intention, but if it was, I don't know why you would have that. I don't know, maybe they needed to be like cut or refilmed or something. I don't know. It just comes off as awkward and weird. To me, at least. Just to me. So, Vin chases Statham. They crash into each other. And then Kurt Russell comes in with his team. Mr. Nobody. Statham escapes. Kurt Russell gets Vin Diesel and says, hey, I know you want Statham. I'm like, yeah, the guy you just let get away. Kurt wants... It is cool to see Kurt Russell. I love Kurt Russell. It's great to see Kurt. I liked him in the movie. That's one positive I would say. The Rock versus Statham fight, I like that bit. I don't think Statham gives a bad performance. I really don't. But like the plot, I know you say this for a lot of Fast and Furious movies, but the plot is I just didn't care about this God's Eye, super stupid surveillance thing. And then Kurt's like, you and your team, I want you to get this for me. So then you gotta go have this whole heist thing in Abu Dhabi where they gotta get this... Well, actually, we're not even there yet. What I'm talking about. They gotta get the hacker first. That's where you get one of the big action scenes in the movie where they're getting the hacker. I don't know. I'm kind of sitting there going... Parses action scenes. I mean, this is also like there's ridiculous stuff in the previous Fast and Furious films. There are. There's ridiculous stuff in Part 5. There's ridiculous stuff in Part 6. But even then, like, while stuff teeters the other way, I'm still able to maintain some level of, okay, I know it's BS, but I can deal with it. And it's just one of the parts of my mind where this invisible line, it shifts, and then when it goes past that point of no return, I'm like, okay, whatever. One of the reasons why I don't like John Wick 4, it's not the only reason, but one of the reasons, and one of the reasons is, okay, this is too much. Just too much. You know, you went along with it, you go along with it, and sometimes like, okay, I'm done. Too fucking much. And this was the start of it for me. Some may say from the first film. Some may say from Part 5, 6. This was like, okay. Again, I know these films had never been realistic. I know that. Even Too Fast, Too Furious. When they jump and do their fucking Dukes of Hazzard to get to the boat. I know, I did. But this, I mean... The cars parachuting down, a lot of that's, how much of that's done CG. When they're in Abu Dhabi and the car goes out the building to one building, and then they do it again from one building to another building. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, really? Like twice you jump off... I know there's CG in the other films. I mean, especially the fourth one with the whole tunnel ending sequence. This one felt like there was more CGI. Maybe that's just me. But yeah, they gotta get this hacker who knows where the God's Eye is at. So they get this big action scene where they parachute the vehicles down, and they gotta go get the stuff. And granted, each person has their moment to try to shine. You know, there's this big bus that the bad guys have. They have these like mini guns on the side. But it's just like, okay, whatever. I don't care what's going on. Paul Walker is going to have a fight with Tony Jaa, and I'm supposed to. I miss you, Paul Walker. I appreciate what you've done. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy Paul Walker beating up Tony Jaa. I'm sorry, but I'm not. If it's one of those things like when Jet Li fought Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, and he just beating the shit out of them. Okay, you know, but that's not the case here. Like, Paul Walker is keeping up and going toe-to-toe with Tony Jaa? I'm sorry, that's hard for me to buy and believe without you telling a more complete story about it. I know, it's movies, and technically anybody can win a fight as long as you're the one writing it or you pay the author, the writer, enough money. That's how it works a lot of times. But it's like, come on. Bit too hard for me to believe, even in this goofy escapism level. Come on. So they get the hacker lady. Paul Walker's fighting Tony Jaa on the bus. Vin Diesel and the girl go over here, and Jason Statham has joined. Found them, is chasing after Vin Diesel. There's a point where they get caught, and oh yeah, the other bad guys is this terrorist played by Djimon Hounsou, which you've seen him in a lot of stuff. He was in Amistad, he was in Blood Diamond, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm Star-Lord. Who? Star-Lord, man. Like, if you've seen his face, you definitely have seen him in a bunch of stuff. And yeah, he plays the bad guy here. Well, one of the bad guys. Which I liked him as an actor. He's not given a whole lot to work with and sink his teeth into, other than just barking orders. So it's a shame. But after the whole action scene, which again, there's certain moments that are okay. But man, there's a lot of CGI. Well, at least there's too much CGI, I'll put it that way. Not to say there's none practical, because there is. But still. Vin Diesel, again, I liked him, but his Toretto kind of became more boring as it went along. Just felt like in the first movie, he had a bit more personality, a little bit more to say other than family. But then as the series went on, especially this one, was just, what's real is family. Know how it feels to be a beast in a cage. Time to unleash the beast. It's like, dude, come on, man. I've seen Pitch Black. I've seen 5 Minutes. You could do better than this. I'm not even going to say he's bad. It's just the way the character's written. It's like they're writing him more and more boring as they go along. If that makes sense. Maybe not. I don't know. So they rescue the hacker lady, and that's where she tells, we need this flash drive or whatever. It's in this car, this super duper car in Abu Dhabi that this rich prince has. So it's a heist. They gotta get in. Tyrese is going to be the distraction. Michelle Rodriguez gets to get her obligatory girl fight, because she fought Gina Carano in the last film, which wasn't too bad. Here she fights Ronda Rousey, which I don't give a fuck about Ronda Rousey or her co-sister, the Mole. Fuck Ronda Rousey. Never liked Ronda Rousey. Always never liked her. Crybaby bitch. I lost. Fuck everything. Yeah, people lose Shit happens. You fucking twat. And that's where, they did, Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, they did in the car. They drove from one building to the other. I'm like, okay, like, come on, dude. This really is turned to a Marvel superhero film. You could argue that was happening in the earlier films, but this one really felt more Marvel superhero than any, and then got worse as it went on. They escape. They did what they need. They did the Kurt Russell. They used the God's Eye. They find Statham, but Statham is working with Djimon Hounsou and the terrorists. They shoot at some of our good guys. Kurt Russell kills a couple but gets wounded. Vin Diesel, Paul Walker help get him out. Vin Diesel has the plan of they're coming for us, let's do it on our streets. Then they come up with the plan is they don't play keep away with the hacker, so they got her in one car. Then at the last minute when they can't do anymore, they get out, they get to another car. So I'll go to Paul Walker's car, then I'll go to Tyrese's car, then I'll go to Michelle Rodriguez's car. Meanwhile, Vin has a fight with Jason Statham, where Vin has these two wrenches. And even their fight, I didn't mind their fight. It's just that it's one of those things that when I see those type of fights, I want to see beginning, middle, end. And there are films that do this that I do like, regardless of this. But I don't like it when they have a fucking fight, but then they cut to this, they cut to this, they cut to this, cut to this, and then we're back to the fight. So I kind of lose the momentum, I lose kind of the flow of that fight. I much prefer a fight beginning, middle, end, then we move on. Not, I know that like Exit Wounds and Cradle to the Grave, like those films would do that kind of shit. Which I like those films, but like I said, it's not my preferred way of seeing a fight. But from little bits, I mean, I didn't mind the fight. Paul Walker at one point shoots some bad guys, deals with Tony Jaa again. Which, I mean, Tony Jaa was wasted in this. And this is a guy that's a great martial artist. Unbot, the first one. The Protector, the first one, because the sequels suck. Yes, I will admit I liked him in this film called Skin Trade with Dolph Lundgren. I thought it was good. But man, he was wasted. Like, he would get back into American films and they'd give him like nothing to do. This one, Triple X 3, Expendables 4. You give him jack all of shit to do, man. I want to see one more big, badass Tony Jaa film without CGI. Let's have that happen, man. One more time. Come on, Tony Jaa. Come on. So anyway. So that whole stuff between Paul Walker, Tony Jaa, I didn't like how wasted he was in this. The Rock finds out stuff's going on, so he steals an ambulance and destroys his drone. Then he takes the minigun and shoots after the bad guy helicopter, which shot at Vin Diesel and Statham, and then Vin Diesel steps his fucking foot on the ground, and Statham disappears in a CGI land that looks so stupid. Goofball horseshit. Oh my god, the CG Rock may kill me. And what's weird is The Rock has a fucking minigun shooting at a helicopter and somehow can't shoot the motherfucker down? How are you not able to shoot a helicopter down when you got a fucking minigun aimed at it? Instead, Vin Diesel has to do this fucking thing that just killed me when I first saw it. Let me repeat. I know these are unrealistic. That's why my eyes are closed. Because I did it, folks. I did it. But he does this thing with the car, and there's the chopper, the helicopter, the chopper. The car is like, choo. It's like, come on, man. And then you let the fucking grenades dangling, and then the rod shoots it, blows up the helicopter. It's like, okay. Alright. Michelle Rodriguez remembers her memories. Thank God right then and there she does. Couldn't have done it like 2 hours earlier or something. And then Statham is put into jail until the next movie. So, the plot was not interesting to me. The action scenes, for the most part, none of them approached the safe chase in the fifth film, where they're dragging that big ass safe around the city streets. I forget where they were at in Fast Five. It's been forever since I've seen it. But it being dragged around, a lot of it seemed to be done in camera. I appreciated that. That was fun. There's not an action scene in this that really comes close to that for me. Paul Walker, didn't noticing some of those CG details and scenes of that. I did a respectful ending. I appreciate it. I liked it. You tell that Vin really said that from the heart. You always be my brother. And again, the song See You Again, very nice song, very fitting. So it's hard to complain about that. So, but with that said, to me, just way too much CGI we're getting into. Too many scenes I call bullshit on, where there's enough that you can tolerate, but this like more so in 9 and 10, but this is like, really? Fuck, really? Really? Paul Walker, because he passed away, I'm sure, I remember reading somewhere that there's a different, like, he was in the plot a bit more. I'm sure he was, but the stuff was cut out. Or maybe not cut out, but he passed away. What do you do? So it's a shame. Rest in peace to Paul Walker. And the ending was nice. Statham, I don't think his acting was bad, but him being evil didn't fucking matter. The Rock was there for a couple scenes. Did not outweigh his welcome. Didn't mind him. Michelle Rodriguez doing what she can. Tyrese, Ludacris. I have fun with them in these movies. Other than them fucking flying, like, what was it, part 9 they flew or something into space? I can't remember, 9 or 10. I think it was 9. But yeah, this... I don't hate it. I don't know why I don't hate it. Listen, I think the ending definitely is such a nice gesture that when you see the film, it leaves you with that soft spot at the end. And trying not to be as cynical about the rest of the fucking movie, but like 9 and 10 I hate. This one, disappointed. Because I like 5, I like 6. Oh, I like Caruso, but then he gets hurt and then we don't see him again. At least in this movie. Oh, Tony Jaa, but he's not given much to do. Except saying, too slow, boy, too slow. Yeah, it just could have been a lot better. More intriguing plot. Give Toretto a bit more personality, range, instead of just a family. you know, that type of thing. Sorry that my eyes are getting squinty because it's like midnight and I'm tired. I need to go to bed after this, so that's why. But yeah. Yeah. I'm not big on this one. I did 1, 2, 5, 6. Those are really the ones for me. With that said, you know, rest in peace to Paul Walker. Take care, everyone. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.